Uh, Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about microbes, how it acts as friend as well as foe. Uh, it is prepared by me. I'm currently MSc first year, Soil Science and Agriculture Chemistry, and I'm studying in CPGS Umiam, CA Imphal. So let's proceed to the next slide. This is an introduction part. Uh, Basically, microbes is a minute and unicellular organisms which we cannot see by naked eye. There are various kinds of microbes such as bacteria, fungi, protozoa, archaea, virus. Uh, okay, let's proceed to the next slide. Now we are going to study about the characteristics of microbes. Microbes are single cell as well as multicellular organisms. Some microbes are prokaryotic and some are eukaryotic. What prokaryotic means? Basically, a primitive kind of bacteria or any kind of microbes which do not have well developed nucleus without nuclear membrane, and they have 70s ribosome, which is still a primitive one, and they don't even have the well developed organelles also, and they are without membranes. And on the other hand, when we talk about eukaryote, it's having 80s ribosome, well-defined nucleus as well as nuclear membrane. DNA also, you will see double helical, double standard one, and the cell wall of microbes are made of different kinds, such as cell wall of bacteria is made of peptidoglycan, as well as the cell of fungi is made of chitin. Like this, like for other microbes, it's made of different kind of compounds. And basically, when we talk about bacteria, it's having various kind of shapes. When we talk about coccus, it's a spherical shape. Bacillus, it's a rod-shaped bacteria, and Spirilla, it's basically spherical, and comma-shaped one is Vibrio. For example, cholera, all these things commons are comma-shaped bacteria. Microbes, they reproduce sexually as well as asexually. Some requires multiple hosts to complete their life cycle. Virus are produced by host cell, and they have one specific characteristics that whenever they are outside the host plant or any host organisms, they act as non-living. They are basically non-functional, but when it enters to the host cell, they start behaving as a living organisms. They bind with the template of the living host and start synthesizing or amplifying its own DNA and try to dominate that specific host organisms. And at the end, the host organisms get killed. So most microbes take energy from a nutrient they take into their cells. Microbes can be aerobic, anaerobic, or facultative anaerobic. When we talk about aerobic, it's like um, they requires oxygen for their life cycle, but when it comes to anaerobic, it's like in absence of oxygen. And when it comes to facultative, generally they need oxygen. If they don't get oxygen, then also they can survive in the absence of oxygen, which is called facultative anaerobic. Okay, next, proceed to the next slide. These are the various shapes and size of microbes. See the coccus one, when we talk about monococcus, it's basically only one cell which is spherical in shape, and this diplococcus one, only two cell will be there, and streptococcus, it will be in a series. One by one they'll just get attached to each other. These are the shapes. And when we talk about sarcina, various kind of cells will come into in aggregation and will make a particular structure called sarcina. And these are the spherical shape of bacteria, and dot shape one is like this. Monobacillus is only one dot shape bacteria will be there. Diplobacillus, two cell will be there. Diplo means two, and bacillus means dot shape, so two cell will be there, dot shape one. These are palisade structure, and various are kind of microbes. This one is paramecium, amoeba, that's it here. So let's proceed to the next slide. These are the type of microbes. Basically, four type of microorganisms are there: bacteria, algae, fungi, protozoa, or bacteria, lactobacillus, E. coli, and so on. And for when it comes to algae, there will be blue-green algae, chlamydomonas, spirogyra, etc., etc. Fungi, bread mold one, penicillium, aspergillus, and so on. And for protozoa also, amoeba, paramecium, etc. And virus, so it also acts as a microorganism. Just now I told you. Okay. When we talk about characteristics of bacteria, bacteria are unicellular, simplest microscopic organism containing a primitive nucleus and cell wall. Bacterial DNA is we used to call nucleate, since it doesn't have cell wall and it doesn't have that nuclear protein, so we used to call it nucleate. And generally we also call this one as a xenopho also. Basically this DNA, it's a single standard one, circular DNA. It is to present, and it used to spread all over the cytoplasm, since it doesn't have any kind of nuclear boundary. So it also have 70 s ribosome. They do not have a specialized digestive system, so basically they used to digest their this food and all in mesosome, which is just um, it basically acts as a digestive system only. It's basically a cell membrane only, cell membrane of bacteria. The cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. Bacteria are both aerobic as well as anaerobic. Just few seconds before I explain this one, is aerobic means in the presence of oxygen is used to play their own role for like it requires oxygen for its life cycle, and when it comes to anaerobic, it doesn't require any kind of oxygen for its growth and development. So they reproduce by vegetative, asexual as well as sexual method. And when it comes to asexual reproduction, mainly it is to do by binary fission. So when one bacteria is there, it will just divide in the middle into two. So binary means only two, and fission means just dividing, so it will divide into two. And when it comes to sexual reproduction, it is to do by conjugation, transformation, transaction. All these three processes to happen when it comes to sexual reproduction. So that's all for bacteria. Let's move to next slide. Characteristics of algae. Basically algae are eukaryotic and mostly photoautotrophs. Bacteria, algae, very few are there which are heterotrophs, and it requires moisture for its growth and development. Their microscopic also is there. Microscopic one, basically they don't have any kind of division in their body, and they don't even have this vascular tissue also. Vascular tissue means like xylem, phylum, all those things used to be there. Xylem plays the role of like uh, taking water molecules and all for their growth and development. And when it comes to phloem, it is to take and transport the food from a particular scene to a source. Um, these to do reproduction by sexual as well as asexual reproduction. They helps basically in nitrogen fixation, which is very important when we talk about agriculture. And these days, our soil is fully deteriorated due to chemical use of this fertilizer and all those things. So, this nitrogen fixing bacteria, algae, and all those things, we can use it. These days to maintain the health of soil and all. And these days it's very trending that natural farming is going on. So let's proceed to the next slide. Characteristics of fungi. This fungi also comes under eukaryotic only, since it's having well-defined nucleus. They have nuclear membrane, and also all other organelles, they all are membrane bound only, and it's quite advanced, not like primitive one. So they are heterotrophic decomposer. We also can call this fungi as a saprophytic also. So it is to act on dead and decaying organic matter, and it breaks into a small simple compound which undergo. And they are basically non-motile. Cellular are made of chitin. They are multicellular, and except is unicellular, and it undergoes a different kind of reproduction process. By budding it is to happen like this whole structure. After a gradual point of time, it will develop a particular structure and it will just detach from there, just as you can see in the diagram. And similarly, they don't have vascular tissue, the xylem and phloem. And a hyphae can grow and form a network. It's called mycelium. I mean, like their whole body composed of hyphae, and it will be look like quite a complex structure, which is called mycelium. And single particular branch, it will be called as hyphae. And okay, next proceed to the next slide. Characteristics of protozoa. This protozoa are also heterotrophic, since they have flagella, which acts as a false leg, which we can call as pseudopodia, and they are having this cilia also. They play an important role in food chain and decaying process. Dormant protozoa, they used to make cyst. Cyst is basically outer covering in their body, which acts as shield during the adverse condition, and it is to protect that particular microbes from the adverse condition. And two prominent protozoa are there. This is paramecium and amobia. So, and for amobia also, it is to take they have the one kind of special characteristic that they is to take a particular food whole into their body, they digest, and then they release the this one waste product. Now let's talk about virus. When you talk about virus are smallest among all microbes. They are infective, they are ultra microscopic. uh, we can view them in electron microscope. The size of virus are very small. When equal to smallest virus, it's around 0.002 micrometer in diameter. And when we talk about largest virus, it will be around 0.8 micrometer in diameter. They are basically obligate parasite. Obligate means like they need specific, not specific, they need a host for their growth and development. Without host they can't survive as well as they can multiply. See, they multiply only with a living host cell and maintain metabolically inert outside the host cell. So viruses are actually nuclear protein only. They have one proteinous code. It's called capsid. We can see here in the diagram. These are the DNA molecules. Either in virus, either DNA will be there or RNA. Both RNA and DNA cannot be there in a particular virus. Only one genetic material can be present. It may be double stranded or single stranded. So to protect this DNA genetic material, one protein code will be there. We used to call it capsid, and surrounded by that will be one glycoprotein. It's basically made of like carbohydrate as well as protein. It used to protect the overall virus. It acts as an envelope only. So let's proceed to the one more thing. Here we can see one bacteriophage structure. Basically bacteriophage is nothing but it's a virus which is used to kill or eat the bacteria. So that's why we used to call it as a bacteriophage. We can see the structure of coronavirus also. Look how it looks in a molecular level. Let's proceed to the next slide. Friends and foe. Microorganisms play a very important role in our life. Some of them are beneficial, as well as on the other hand some of them are very harmful, which cause many kind of diseases. Microorganisms are used in various process for beneficial thing, for example for making this bread. When it comes to like conversion of milk into curd, lactobacillus bacteria is to come in play, act as a catalyst to make it into curd, and it is for making cake, alcohol, wine, all those things. So, and one more thing, like even for our digestive system also, microbes play a very important role. Without microbes, it will be like very difficult for us for digesting the food what we used to take every day. With the help of microbes only, it acts as a catalyst. It used to digest the food material whatever we used to eat in a very short period of time. So with the help of this fungus called yeast, it reproduces in flower duct and produces carbon dioxide during respiration, which makes the duct an puffiness and soft also at the same time. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. uh, when we talk about the beneficial role of microbes, we can say they, according to the data you can say like out of 100% microbes, only 1% we can use it as a beneficial microbes, and around 99% microbes it's unidentifiable as well as it's harmful. So let's talk about the commercial use of microbes. When we talk about pharmaceutical and healthcare one, we can make antibiotics. For example, this penicillium, we can make it with the help of penicillium microorganisms that is used to treat bacterial infection. It used to break cell wall of bacteria and eventually kill the bacteria. So basically this antibiotic acts only on bacteria, not in fungi. So we can make vaccine also with the help of these microbes. Many bacteria and viruses are used in production of vaccine, for example E. coli, etc. etc. Microbes like E. coli, yeast, all these things are used for production of insulin and various kind of hormones, gastric hormones. Let's proceed to the next slide. And when we talk about agriculture, there's a very great role of these microbes. We can make it biofertilizer, which is acts as a nitrifying bacteria. For example, rhizobium, azotobacter, aspergillum. All these things used to improve the quality of a soil. So we can make biopesticide also. For example, the microbes used to use Bacillus thuringiensis, which is to control pests, especially the lepidoptera insects and all those things. And for example, like this bt cotton, bt brinjal, all these things are made of this Bacillus thuringiensis only through this genetic engineering and all those things. So uh, for pollution cleanup also, it is to play a great role to degrade or neutralize environmental pollutant such as heavy metals, toxic chemical in soil and water. And wastewater treatment also you can do with this one in the treatment of sewage, industrial effluents by breaking down of organic matter and all those heavy metal and contaminants. So the third point is energy production. With the help of microbes, we can make this biofuel. Microorganisms such as this algae, bacteria are used to produce biofuel like ethanol, methane, biodiesel through fermentation and other processes. Biogas production and anaerobic bacteria are used to break down organic waste in landfill and digesters to produce methane gas, which can be used for cooking purposes and all those things. So let's proceed to the next slide. We can use these microbes in food and beverage industry for making wine and this conversion of milk into curd and various things we can see here. These things. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. We can use it in cosmetic and personal cares also. Some cosmetic use like fermentation product like hyaluronic acid, which is produced by Streptococcus species, which can we use in cosmetic products and all. And microbial metabolites are also used as natural preservative and antimicrobial agents in skincare products. So let's proceed to the next slide. When we talk about the disadvantage as well as the harmful act of microbes, these microbes as a whole, microbe causes various kind of diseases. Through it can be bacteria, it can be virus, it can be fungus, or it can be parasites, any kind of parasites. So when we talk about bacteria, this Streptococcus pneumonia is to cause pneumonia. And when you talk about virus, this HIV virus, which is used to cause AIDS, and AIDS is a very dangerous disease. There is no any such kind of specific disease. I mean, like the medicine which can treat this AIDS. Once a particular patient is infected with AIDS, he or she, sure he or she will die, but maybe not today or tomorrow, but for a particular period of time, but very within 10 years normal the patient used to die. And when it talk about this rabies virus, this is also the same only. It's very dangerous for the person. If once the patient get infected with rabies, that 100% sure, 100% mortality rate, that particular patient will die only. And corona, it's not that dangerous, but yeah, some strain are there which is very harmful for the human being. We recently just went through that pandemic. This corona spread all over the world, and so many people lose their life because of this corona only. So when we talk about fungus, various skin diseases used to happen, such as ringworm and various kind of skin infection is there, like itching and all those things used to happen due to this ringworm, this fungus only. And it's very difficult to care also. It used to occur again and again after the particular period of medication, even after the particular period of medication. So when we talk about parasites, this malaria is to cause through this plasmodium, and mainly the vector is female Anopheles mosquito. It is to because of this mosquito only. This mosquito is to carry this plasmodium and infect from an infected person to a healthy person. And here we can see that in the diagram, HIV virus and AIDS, how it is to transmit from a infected person to a healthy person. For example, like the use of the sharing of needles, also a very prominent cause we can see for the transmission of this AIDS virus, this HIV virus from a infected person to a healthy person. Through pregnancy also it is to transmit. Through blood donation also it is to transmit. Through organ donation also it is to transmit from a diseased person to a healthy person. You can say that from a infected person to a healthy person. And some of the myths we should be very aware of relating to the HIV, which is not transmitted through when it eat in the same plate with suppose a infected person and a healthy person. If both the person eat on the same plate also, the HIV virus also transmit from infected to the healthy plant. Through insect bite also it never used to transmit. Through the kissing, if you kiss during kissing time also, between a alternate sex also, it never used to transmit through saliva, since in saliva this HIV can withstand, and generally HIV virus not present in the saliva. So if the couple is kissing also, this HIV virus won't transmit from a infected to a healthy one. So due to this sexual contact also it is to transmit. That's why there is always advice given by the expertise that try to use protection before doing any kind of sexual thing. So let's proceed to the next slide. uh, some bacteria causes resistant to antibiotics, making infection harder to treat. For example, MRSA, methicillin-resistant Streptococcus aureus, is resistant to many common antibiotics, making it difficult to treat the infection. Microbes can contaminate food and water, leading to various kinds of foodborne diseases such as Salmonella typhi and E. coli, and they cause various kinds of diseases, that's typhoid, cholera, diarrhea. All these things used to happen because of this contamination of food and water. So certain microbes causes disease in plant also, leading to crop failure and food shortage. These are the example. For example, this Phytophthora infestan uh, can cause late blight of potato, which is the main reason for Irish famine in Ireland. And similarly, this Helminthosporium oryza, which causes brown spot of rice, uh, and which was also the main cause for Bengal famine in India. This causes various shortage of uh, food grains in our country, due to which this Bhukmari and all those things happen once in our era in India. So after that, this green revolution and all those things came. So next, proceed to the next slide. This dual nature of microbes. The dual nature of microbes to both benefit and as well as harmful. They are essential for many ecological and biological process. Also, they can also be dangerous when they become pathogenic or cause environmental damage. Understanding this dual role is important for harnessing the benefit of microbes, such as we can make it, such as in medicine or in industry we can use it, while managing and preventing their harmful effect such as infection and pollution. So we can do that one. Let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, that's all for today. This is the end of my slide. So thank you so much and have a nice day.